Okay, so I know we still have a few more people coming in, and out of respect for everybody's time, some people have been here for at least half an hour, so we're going to go ahead and get started. And if anybody has any questions, we're going to take those up at the end. And I can't believe the turnout. I mean, I guess I can. It should be a surprise given the circumstances that we're in right now, but I really appreciate it, and thank you all for coming out. One of the things that I'd like to share, and I know there's a lot of things on everybody's mind, and there's a lot of questions about things that are relevant, but we may not be able to address tonight. We're going to stick to a funding mechanism to address abatement, and that's going to be our primary focus on here. Share this plan that I've put together. There, we have representatives here from CAL FIRE, from the Kelseyville Fire, from the Sheriff's OES, and other county staff that are here as well. And I'll be working with our OES staff and with the fire departments to maybe put together another town hall meeting where we can address things such as escape routes, what to do in the event of a fire. Right now, my primary goal is to do what we can to minimize the possibility of a fire. It's no secret to anybody here, in fact, everybody in here, if you live in Lake County, you've been affected over the last 4 or 5 years by wildfire in Lake County. 60% of our land mass in Lake County has burned in the last 4 years. Every single area in Lake County has been affected by evacuation or advisory of evacuation. Every single resident in Lake County has been affected by that. And as bad as that is, and as bad as our fires have been, I can't even, after having gone through this and lived it myself, like many of you have, I can't even imagine what the folks in Paradise and New County are going through right now. And I just feel for them so much, and hopefully, we can give some assistance to them in the months and years ahead as well. So again, thank you for coming out and see what this proposal is here that we have available. So, can everybody hear me okay? No? Yeah, how about now? Because okay, Tom, can you help me with that? I think Tavis can a little bit, maybe a little less bass, a little more treble. Yeah, it's all about the bass.
That's big. More cowbell.
Is that better? More cowbell, yeah. Okay, is that better? Okay, all right, great, thank you. Okay, so calling this a risk management zone, but it's really a benefit zone, much like many of you in the Rivieras and in Buckingham have seen what we've done over the past several years when we did a benefit zone that we were able to do some work on your local roads. And the concept of that was the folks that benefited directly from those roads actually paid the assessment, a minimal assessment for a year up to 5 years, and it ended. It wasn't an ongoing tax or fee that is attached to your property and goes on and on and on. This is about a one-time assessment, and I'll get into that a little bit more as we go. So this is not a really good map that you can see from even up here, let alone in the back. But I have another one hanging up over here. You're welcome to come look at it after the meeting, and it's basically the fire history for District 5 since 1920. As you can see, the footprint of the Valley Fire right here, and the Clearlake Rivieras up in here, or here, and then Buckingham and the Riviera Heights areas up in here. And what you'll see, that you can't do, again, it doesn't come out really good on this PowerPoint, but there are fires, the fire history in this area, the largest fires were 1949 till 1961. And there were huge fires. They did a lot of damage to the wildland, but there were no homes back here then. There were maybe just a few farmers living out here, people living on the lake, but nothing like what we have right now, since all the Rivieras and most of this area was actually developed in the 70s and since then. But the point of this is, like, there's a fire area in the Clearlake Riviera area that was 1949. So if your house was here then, it would be gone gone, several hundred of the others would have been gone as well. And the bad news is that's 69 years of fuel load that has just come back up, grown back up, and grew back probably thicker than it was in 1949. So you get the point that every single one of these communities has burned significantly. And what we've learned, like with the Valley Fire and some of these other fires, there were fires there before. It's going to burn again. And what we have to do is try to minimize that fuel load and do what we can to make sure that we don't experience a disaster like we've already experienced in Lake County and like Paradise is experiencing right now. Because I don't think I'm over dramatizing the possibility that we have a fire here in the Rivieras, given the roads and the exits and the different situations that we have here, people will die. And that's the thing that really, it literally keeps me up at night wondering what's going to happen. I predicted that any fire that we were going to have prior to the Valley Fire would have been here. That would have been my prediction. And any of these communities that that interface with Mount Canocti, because that's where the huge fuel load is, and so that's what we're going to get into, the possibility of this plan. And this, okay, so this is Buckingham, as you guys can tell. And there are, open back up here. There are approximately 600 lots in Buckingham. And every community has their unique issues. Buckingham's actually done a really good job, and they have the ability to do a lot of the understory, but the issue that they're having, as you can see by these pictures, are dead trees near power lines and vacant lots and even fallen. And so that's the issue that they seem to have primarily. There's some grass and that type of thing, but mostly the dead trees from what I've gathered, the information that I've. By the way, I've been very fortunate to work with each of the homeowners associations on this plan, and I can guarantee you they're working hard to try to come up with some solution like this. So here's Clearlake Riviera, and there are 2,776 lots in here. Now, to put that in perspective, there's in all three Rivieras in Buckingham, this is over half of the lots, and if Clearlake Riviera was an incorporated city, it would be the second largest town in Lake County. It's bigger than Lakeport, slightly smaller than Clearlake. It's big, it's huge. The goal, what I'm trying to do here, is not just work on the lots that are within each of the homeowners associations, but also put into the benefit zone all of the peripheral lots that butt right up against the homeowners association area, the boundary, so it would extend beyond that. And within it, there are some lots that are within it, as you can see. And there's a lot of work going on that CAL FIRE's been active in, local CAL FIRE and Fire Safe, of working on some of these buffer zones going around, and some of them haven't been completed. And there's the school area right there, and then clear around, where we can try to create a buffer zone around it. I want those to be included in this because they need to be addressed by the county as well. So, on to the next slide here. This is Clearlake Riviera. Their issues, and I'm telling you guys this, but I know you already know it, for the most part, but I'm just confirming, re-emphasizing that, the fuel load that we have along the roads in this area is different than Buckingham. This is a real major threat. It's just a real problem for all these homes that are uphill and anymore, even downhill, the way the wind conditions are. So we have that. Okay, so here's Riviera Heights. Same issue. We've got all these lots here, and Riviera Heights has 639 lots, and then they have significant interface with Mount Canocti and some private property owners in and about there. These are pictures of some of the family lots, if you want to call them that really need to be addressed one way or another. And you know, the thing is, I doubt seriously that many of the lots that we're talking about belong to anybody in here. You guys are here because you care. If they cared, they would have these cleaned up. So I don't think that there's a lot of those that are going on from the folks that are here. So same thing with Riviera West. And you can see the interface around there, and there's a few lots in between, that along the roadway.
How many lots?
Oh, thank you. 480 in Riviera West, and then here are some of the lots that. An example of some of the lots that need to be addressed in there. Okay, so this is where we get down to the numbers and the source for the funding. So basically, this whole thing comes about as we get all these calls from people saying, why aren't you doing something? Why aren't you cleaning up these lots? Why aren't you doing this? Well, the bottom line is we don't have the money. We had $40,000 that we put to the possibility of doing some abatement, and we found out that would clean about 10 or 15 lots. Because the problem is the county, if you do a lot, and it's $1,000. If we do it, because the prevailing wage is going to be $3,500, $4,000 because of prevailing wage. So we really want people to clean their own lots. That's where the numbers are. The math works much better, because if we do it, they're still going to pay for it one way or the other. So we have to put a lien on that property. But in the meantime, we have all those lots, but with the peripheral lots, and it might be a little bit more on that. I actually put that number on there just so it came out to be 5,000. That wasn't an accident, I did that on purpose, just for the numbers. But it could be slightly less, those peripheral lots that are larger. So what I'm looking at is a one-time assessment. And I'll explain how that works, the vote, in a minute. But the assessment of $100 per lot, one time. That's all it would be, $100. Go on your tax bill next December. And then that's for the lots within the associations. The assessment per lot, 1 to 5 acres, would be $200 one time. The assessment per lot over 5 acres would be $300 one time. And that would generate roughly $500,000, $500,000 that we could then use to begin the process of going out and hiring local contractors. We'd send a letter out to the offending property owner, and they would have 30 days to clean their lot, or we come in and do it. We hire a contractor to come do it. So they have 30 days. And how that's reviewed is by a committee of CAL FIRE. And I've spoken with Greg Bertelli about this, and so we've kind of worked out some ideas here with Kelseyville Fire. And okay, so the program will run through community development, and the assessment committee for these lots would comprise of CAL FIRE, Kelseyville Fire, HOA staff, and county representatives. So what would happen, and we're talking about 4 homeowners associations right now. If this goes off into more communities around the county, then that would be good, but everybody's going to have their own assessment. And so out of 4 communities, we have 4 different assessments. And so money generated in Buckingham can only be used in Buckingham. Money used in the Rivieras, generated in the Rivieras, can only be used in the Rivieras. We can't take the money and use it somewhere else. It has to be used here. That's the idea of the benefit zones, those that receive the direct benefit. So, and then it would have a county representative, somebody that we would have, so it would be very objective. It wouldn't be, homeowners associations that, in the back of their mind, they have a property owner that they really don't like. They're going to go after it. Not saying that would happen, but this eliminates that. This is fire experts and community development, code enforcement experts that know exactly what to look for as far as fuel load. It's not It's not subjective. It's going to be factual. How these, it's a scoring that they would use, and they would bring back those high priority lots. We would send letters out right away. They have 30 days to clean it. If not, then we work with contractors that we've already contracted with. We have some of those contractors here today that we will be working with and have that ready to go. We send county staff out, or fire department out there to look at the lots. If they haven't been in compliance, if they haven't completed the cleanup like we've asked them to do, then we go ahead and do it. So then, say it's $3,500 or $4,000 comes out of the $500,000 that we raised. It comes before the board of supervisors. We put a lien on their property. That lien goes on. It goes on their taxes. So when they pay their taxes, they have to pay that lien. Otherwise, their taxes aren't paid. And then that lien, that money goes right back into that $500,000. It's a revolving fund that continues to stay active for years and years to come. So that's kind of the objective. And so I've kind of laid that out. So the timeline on this is, what I'm hoping for is to get ballots out. Okay, so how that election works, for those of you that didn't participate in the benefit zone for the roads, is it's not like an election where you go to your polling place or it's run through the elections office or anything like that. It'll be sent out through, in cooperation with Public Works and Community Development. These ballots go out to each property owner. So it's not per voter. Every property gets a vote. So if somebody like Paul Spangler that owns 7,000 lots, he gets 7,000 votes. So you actually, however many lots you have is how many votes you have per lot. And those come out, they come back, it takes 45 days, and the board of supervisors has a protest hearing. Count the ballots. We have the count right there. Have a protest hearing. People, a flood of people come in, want yes or no. Could change everything. Typically, it hasn't when we've done the road benefit zones. And so what that would look like is, like for these to go out the week of January 9th. That would give us 45 days from there to get the ballots back. We've set the protest hearing for the first Tuesday after that 45 days is up, and then the board accepts it and we go to work. Send out the letters 30 days from the middle of February, middle of March. Either they've cleaned them up or they haven't, and we start working. Now the timeline for that is such that, and obviously we haven't raised any money yet, but the vote has passed. We know that people are going to pay it. So I've gotten assurances from Carol Hutchinson, our CAO, that she would recommend that we front some money up, and that would be reimbursed once the taxes came in December, so that would cover that at least for the first year. And so we would send those out, and we'd try to have those done before fire season. Again,
this coming up fire season?
Yes, yeah. If this one ever ends,
yeah.
so. What we need to do, see, here's the thing, we can't tell somebody you need to go clean your lot, but by the way, don't use a lawnmower, don't use a chainsaw. We want them to be able to do it and do it the right way, because we're not going to be able to do it either. Well, you can't clean all these lots with just a weed eater and hoppers. It's going to take some serious equipment to do it, so we want to do it safely, and we expect people to do it in that same time frame, and so it'll probably stop for the summer, take off again next fall when the conditions get right, work through the winter the following winter. It's going to take a while to get all this done, but we have to start somewhere. And we would pick off the 50 lots that are the most egregious currently, maybe more, depending upon how many contractors we can get involved in this. But in the meantime, I think we would see a big dent put in it before next fire season, and that's what our ultimate goal would be. So, and then also I wanted to mention Riviera Heights is not my district. It's in District 4, but it was in my district. I just feel compelled because of its interface with Kanaka, like all of these, and so I've been working with Supervisor Scott. Tina Scott's here as well, and so that's why we've included that community as well. So, yes. Yes. Well, okay, so here's the question that Roger had. Does the county already have an ordinance that would allow us to do these abatements right now? And the answer is yes. Then he asked, why aren't we doing it now? And the answer is we don't have the money. So you can't, the thing is, you know, and I try to avoid this saying, clean up your lots or else, because there is no or else. And people, it doesn't take very long for people to realize, yeah, what are they going to do about it? We don't have the money. We just don't, and that's just the bottom line. And so that's why, you know, bringing this, it should be paid for by the folks that should receive the direct benefit, in my opinion. So that's why I'm asking that, you know, everybody that owns a lot to support this $100 one time to give us enough money for an ongoing effort for decades to come to make sure that that the fuel load is minimized as much as we possibly can. We're not going to guarantee 100% that we'll never have a fire, but the reality is there will be one year with the fuel load that we have that will be just a complete disaster, and we have to try to minimize that as much as we can. So that is the end of the presentation, so I'm happy to take questions. Right now I'll start right here and I'll work my way around. Yes?
Okay, so you got one-time assessment. What happens to the
Okay, so the money stays there, like I said, you have $500,000, you go and you clean, what happens in 2 or 3 years after the money's gone? Well, the money's not going to go, theoretically, because if you have $500,000 and you go out and you spend $100,000 cleaning up however many lots that covers, you know, 50 lots. Those 50 lots are going to be leaned for that much money, so when they pay their taxes next year, the money comes back, it goes back into that fund.
Are most of them paying their taxes?
Most of them are, yes. Most people are paying their taxes. So there are some that don't, but if they don't pay these, then the property could go for sale. So that's not established by the county. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So the question was, why don't we allow for more burning, more control burning? This year alone, there were 2,200 burn permits issued. So we are allowing burning. There are some conditions. CAL FIRE sets the burn schedule. There are. I can assure you that air quality is working with people a lot more than they may have been prior to the Valley Fire. So people need to go in there and check with them. In the meantime, that's, you know, burning brush in a community like this is not as, we don't want people saying, okay, yeah, I want you to clear your lawn, by the way, go ahead and feel free to burn what you want. And that's not going to work out. And I can tell you, as somebody who did a control burn with a contractor in April when the conditions were right, when I had to pay $300,000, my insurance company did, to pay for my neighbor's garage. I won't be control burning anymore. And well, actually, it wasn't the garage, but it was the weed that was in it. Ed. I will repeat the questions too. So, yeah.
There's a lot of properties along Southern Road that aren't in these homeowners. And secondly, you have an issue if you want to go and clean some of these lots. Is that a legal thing?
There's going to be a standard. Okay, so the question was the roads along Soda Bay that aren't within the homeowners associations, and I'll address that one first. That's not going to be included in this, but we can do it in a different assessment area. We can do an assessment. We did with the roads. We did an assessment area with, I think, 11 houses on one road. So it just depends on the size of the community, and we can do it. So, but for now, in order to make this as simple as possible and to start seeing some movement on this, we're just going to stick within the homeowners associations boundaries and the lots that are peripheral to those.
So is that legal or not?
Okay, I'm going to get to that. It is. If it's a hazard, a health and safety hazard, then yes, it is legal to go in there and abate them. But when I go clear cut, there's some lots out here. I was driving around and said, they look great. They're trimmed up to here. You know, these guys, these contractors that you should eat chili before you come to this. That was a ringtone, sorry. So these contractors, we're not going to go in there and just start clear cutting. We're going to have contractors that are licensed, bonded. They know what they're doing, and they're going to be working with the fire department and CAL FIRE for standards that are appropriate. They're not going to go in there and clear cut. We're going to remove it. It's not going to be. It's going to be a clear standard for that. So anybody, next row, yes sir. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Doing the math real quick, $500,000 will allow to clear 4,000 each, 125 lots. That's nothing when you want to start. How much of that $2 million do you really expect to get?
I just threw 4,000 out as an example. It said, some lots will be 1,000, some, I don't know what they'll be to clear them.
It's 200 lots.
Okay. I think if you cleared 200 lots, you'd have it. I'm going to make the assumption that there's going to be a lot of people clear their own lots, especially if they realize how much it's going to cost per prevailing wage. Right. Yeah. No, I don't disagree with you on that. Here's the thing. We don't have enough contractors to clear all of them in the first year anyway. It's going to take 4 or 5 years to actually make the circle and do them all, and by then we'll be getting that money back from the lots that we've leased. Not all of them. There's a really good question up here about people not paying their taxes. Pam knows better than anybody. There are a lot of people that won't pay them. They just won't pay. There are people that are already in tax default right now, and we're going to have to clean their lots. But I guess the simplest way to do it. I don't mean to offend anybody. We have to start somewhere. I can't. We have to start somewhere, and that's. I can't. I'll get around to it here in just a second. But I just think that that's going to be a good start. The 500,000. I went to the state after the Valley Fire. They were collecting the SRA fund at the time. They had that money there, and I asked them. I said, "Can you give us $300,000?" Because we figured that we would do $125,000 a year. And I asked them for that, and I said, "You'll get it back. Just front us the money, and once we do the lien and get the money back, we'll give it back to you." And they thought it was a great idea, but that's as far as it went. So I started working on this in June. We planned this meeting 6 weeks ago. We scheduled it. We were working on this for a long time, and I just feel like we got to start somewhere. My one proposal that we had at one point was $100 one time, and then $20 a year for 5 years after that to keep it going. And homeowners associations who have a real good sense of their community thought that might put people off by this ongoing, just the concept of the ongoing. And so their suggestion was to fall back to a one-time $100, and I agree with it. I think that's a good, easy, doable amount that we can see a difference. If it's not, well, what's that? Well, then you might be right. 5 years, 4 or 5 years, or whatever, we may come back and say, no, we won't be able to spend 500. I wish we could clear that many lots that quick, but I don't think we'll be able to. So, Paul. Oh, Paul, you're gonna have to wait. Hey, I'm sorry. You're not raising your hand. I'll go back to Clearlake Riviera as an example, and while I'm going back there, just to give you, actually, I can just about any one of those. Her question was to confirm the periphery, the lots on the periphery here. While we're waiting for that, Paul, go ahead. You're talking about these guys being...
We started down here on one place and went so far
Well, okay, and you might be right. I wouldn't make a bet as to where it would start. You know, the best place to start is right along the road where somebody throws something on a chain.
We walked in this weekend. Solid Bay was Snow 5M, Jago Bay, and Thunderbolt Mountain. It comes in 3 different ways.
Yeah.
And I think it's before the year.
Yeah. So.
But all I'm asking is, I don't have a problem paying, keeping mine clear. And I know there's lots of Riviera that the side of mine that I clear that has never been cleared.
Yeah.
But those folks on the outside of the Rivieras, they should pay. Our car should be clearing their property. If they're going to clear another one, they clear another.
That would have to be answered by them, and I'm not sure anybody here would be able to answer that. And his question was, the CAL FIRE and some of the other agencies that are clearing some of the peripheral lots, these bigger areas, this isn't one of them, but you know, in the Rivieras, like around these edges, the 100-foot or 300-foot.
There's a grant.
Is it 100-foot? Yeah. So, okay. So it's by a grant that's to be used for that type of property. But here's the thing that I forgot to mention. So there are a lot of grants out there that are available, but we can't ever get them because it requires a match fund, and we never have the 20 or 25% required. This would give us that. In fact, what would happen is the $500,000 could be used as a match to generate another $2 million that we could use. But the answer to your question, whether it's the right answer that you want to hear or not, the reality is these grants have a lot of restrictions on them, and cleaning neighborhood lots aren't in that grant.
How come the associations don't take care of the association, and the people on the outside pay their share? It's easy to say, yeah, let's get some more money, but it's harder to collect. People are letting their lots go, some of the lots will go up $2,000.
Yeah, and the question is how come the association, I can't answer that. I don't know. I don't know, Paul.
I've been saying it for 40 years.
Well, you were here like when the 1920 fires were, so I'm sure. Just kidding, I'm teasing. So, okay. Yeah. Thank you, Paul. And I agree with you. I know which lots you're talking about. I know which lots you've cleaned, and that's a perfect example of how, you know, what the standard should be. Okay. It's yours. Identify. What color is it? Okay. Greg.
Yeah, so you have absentee owners that we always complain about, don't clean the thing up, and you have renters that the landlords there. So they're going to be voting, and they're going to have that same 3-month period of response?
Absentee owners will. Our largest problem is absentee owners. I don't think anybody can disagree with that. Our largest offender are absentee owners, but renters do not. They don't vote. It's only the property owner. It has to come back, and that's it. One vote per lot. So any other questions down here? Yes, sir. I'm sorry, ma'am, right here.
I'm curious, along the lots, there's a lot of dead trees that are on the wires.
Yeah. So that we need to address that with PG&E, and not just PG&E, but AT&T. Most of these lines that are coming out here, we called PG&E the other day. I had a constituent get hold of me and send pictures, actually. So I forwarded on to PG&E because that's usually our primary concern. Come to find out they're telecom. Well, they're not. They still need to come down. Those trees need to come down. And that's what we need to work with them. And by the way, Jeff Finnell is here, so I appreciate that. And we're meeting on the 21st with representatives from BLM to work on the Black Forest and get that clean there too, because it's another area. And you know, in my opinion, it doesn't make any difference if it's an absentee landlord, or if it's BLM or the county of Lake or who. Everybody has a responsibility to take care of their own property. And so we're going to hold us as just as accountable. And I'm not saying that as a threat or anything like that. Our people at the county, I can't tell you enough, you know, how hard they work to try to make all this work with the resources they have. But they're very interested in making sure that and that money to do that won't come out of this fund. That's on us. So same with BLM. The state has land, and we'll be working on some other areas. Even though it's not periphery to the communities, it's still impacting the community, and that's property owners of Moncanopta. We got to figure out some things to do up there, in addition to this. So, sir, you had a question there. Yeah.
I'm just wondering, after the vote, it requires a simple majority.
50% plus one vote.
Yeah, and I'm just thinking, like, because it's a matter of raising money. For example, I'd be more than happy to give $200 for some not getting enough votes to get the money. So I'm just wondering if there's a provision at some point to do a big fundraiser.
We'll wait and see how that goes. We'll see what the special. I think people are going to trust that, you know, that there's enough check and balance when it goes out the ballots, and explain it. We have an engineer's report that talks about exactly, you know, what the issue is and what this money is going to be used for, and we have to be accountable to that. There's a law that will not allow us to take that money and use it for, you know, to do a road in, you know, North Shore. And that money has to be used for the specific purpose that it was designed for in that ballot.
I'm just concerned because of all the absentee.
Yeah, no, I get that. Anything can happen. Anything can happen. I think people will vote for it. I really do. I think if we, you know, we can sell this, all of us in here can sell this thing if we're all in it together. Yes, ma'am. We can't really use volunteers in a situation like this because, even though it's a great idea, great concept. There are some things that volunteers can do, but it wouldn't be as far as cleaning because there's a huge liability there in that. So, yes, sir. Back there.
About absentee property owners.
I'm sorry?
The person next to us owns 4 lots. Will he get 1 vote or 4 votes?
If you have 4 lots, you get 4 votes. Yeah. As long as you're voting yes. Yes. Yeah. I did. Yeah, right around there. That would be all these lots that are right around there. That's, yeah. Every lot that abuts right up to it, yeah. Sorry, yeah. I'm sorry? Yeah.
What plan, obviously, what plan, when is that plan being activated to put a clear cut of the property?
Well, not all around is owned by the county.
No.
Okay, yeah, he wants to know about the plan to do something with Canal. And I can honestly tell you there is no plan in place right now. We're working on things, but we have to work, you know, with the resources that we have available. Right now, my primary concern are the neighborhoods that have the highest density, and then we can move out from there. And I'm not disagreeing with you that there's not an issue there, but it's not something that we're going to be able to resolve with this fund here. Mayor.
So the proposal doesn't change the liability of the absentee owners currently for lot clearing and the expenses involved. What is being asked for is the capital up front to allow for the lot clearing. So with that being known, how many people are occupied owners versus how many are absentee owners? What would be the vote split at this point in time?
I don't know who's actually living on their property. I don't know who's renting it, and I don't know off the top of my head.
I think that would be an obvious thing to know before you just.
No, it wouldn't be anything that I would put any effort in because there's no way to get an accurate number unless you go lot by lot. And there's no way to possibly do that. It's the same issue that we had with the benefit zones for the roads. Absentee owners, vacant lots, everybody voted for them. Everybody got assessed the same and it worked. So the thing that we can do is there's no resources available to identify each particular lot and what the status is. Yes, right here.
Who's going to prioritize what lots get done first? And is there going to be a committee appointed to allocate the funds?
The funds will be allocated. They'll be done by the county. We'll contract directly. But the committee would be, the assessment committee would be somebody from CAL FIRE, somebody from Kelseyville Fire, somebody from the homeowners association. It's actually, you know, if it's Clearlake Riviera, it's Riviera. Usually they can have somebody, and they actually have a guy that's a fire guy. You know, he knows that's retired from the fire department, and then somebody from county staff that you know we.
Would it all be public? Like we could would there be a plan put forward to the community, like these lots are going to be done, let them know what's coming?
That's a good question. That's a good thought to put that through. We want to do it fairly quickly, so we're not going to have like these big public meetings to have votes on or anything like that. It's going to be the ones that are the most obvious by the fire experts, not by me, not by typically homeowners association folks who may have different thoughts on it than the fire group that are objective. So yes.
Yeah, well, thank you for calling the meeting tonight. Appreciate it, and I'm concerned about all my citizens here that live in the Riviera. But I think not addressing prescribed burns at this point in our county, whether there's resources or not, if we're not actively having a conversation about prescribed burns, we're pissing in the wind. You guys can clear all the lots you want around your little homes, but until we've knocked this fuel down, until we've gotten the state of California, until our representatives are working with the state of California to work on some prescribed burns, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, we are working on this one. I don't disagree with you all. But I gotta ask you a question, because I wasn't, we had dozer lines, we had piles, it was right conditions, everything, and my neighbor's garage was burned down as a result of a control burn. Are you willing to take that risk?
I am absolutely willing to put my call on the line and sign off liability, as is Michael Fowler, as are many of us, because there are some of us that are going to lose our property when we do these prescribed burns. We are going to have property loss. But you know what? We're not going to have loss of life.
Yeah, okay, that's a good point. And I think working with CAL FIRE and with their quality.
Why aren't we here? Where's CAL FIRE? Why aren't they here tonight? Why aren't they speaking? They should stand up and speak to these issues.
No, because we're talking about this assessment. So I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just saying I'm trying to keep it focused on this.
Let's bring them in the fold next time so they can speak and interface with us to the state of California.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you.
Right, good point. Back here, back in the back.
So you have a lot of money and go through your process for lots and go through your 5-year process. What about the stuff that's growing right behind? This stuff goes real fast. So as you get money, it's going to start all over.
It's got to be treated. Yeah, there's got to be some treatment. Yeah. No, here. Okay, so the comment was, and the question was, what about after you cut it and you got to come back and do it again? You're absolutely right. I did, a ton of brush cutting on my ranch out there 10 years ago, and it came back like hair, thicker. Well, not always, but anyway, it does. It comes back, and it's got to be treated, or you got to have ongoing maintenance by the property owner. You're absolutely right. Doing it one time is not going to help anything.
But it's money there to keep it going.
If we have to abate it, yeah, it would be. Yeah, if it has to be abated, but we're relying on decency of people to realize that private property rights also comes responsibility, and unless they want to pay 3 or 4 times the amount that it would normally cost by prevailing wage, they will take care of it the first time, or at least the second time. So that's what we're hoping for. Yes. I don't know. The question was, will CAL FIRE extend it more than 100 feet, the fire break?
Yes.
Yes.
300 feet.
300 feet? Okay, thank you. Thanks for coming. I didn't see you over there. Hiding behind Jeff. Yeah, 300 feet. So, yes, sir.
You mentioned absentee owner property. I spend a little bit of money to my lot behind my house. More than I'm supposed to. The guy behind me is not a member of the association. He's just letting that go wide. That's how I'm pointing it. And if that ever catches fire, we're going to be doomed.
Yeah, those.
What happens to them? Are they going to have to pay a fine and a lien? And
yes.
Kick their butt to the curb and say, you know what? We're taking your property.
Yes, if the property butts up to the homeowners association boundary, they're going to be included in this, and they're going to be assessed based on the size of their parcel, and they will be considered in that abatement process as well.
I sure hope so. I think there's properties like that in Riviera.
There are dozens of them. So.
What other question?
Yeah.
What about an alert system like a siren?
That's another subject, another topic that Like I said, we have a representative here from the Sheriff's Department, OES, and I'm sure we'll be having other meetings regarding, escape routes and sirens and all that kind of thing. That's something that could be taken up at that time. There's several of them around the county that have started to come in, and there's funding available in some of those, some donations that happen, so we can have that discussion, but that won't come out of this fund. Yeah. Yes, sir.
Will you have the authority to go to these lots that are outside of the Riviera and clear those lots?
Will we have the authority to do it? Absolutely. Yes.
We live on Wheeler Drive, 90-something acres, 10 feet from my house.
Yes. We will have the authority to do it, but what we're going to do is work with those landowners to try to come up with money. They have property up here. They're willing to do stuff. Just like you heard him say, we're going to work with it. This is, here's the thing. There are people that we're going to have to go after, but the first line is corrective more than punitive. And that's what we really have to work towards, because that's the cheapest way to do it, is have the landowner do it himself. If they're willing to do it like he is, we should work with them and try to accomplish that, because that's what they want to do. It's overwhelming. I have 300 acres. It's a lot of money to try to clear property, but it's a responsibility that we have. So
this wall of brush used to be a nuisance. Now it's a threat. It's a nightmare buried threat. 10 foot, 10 meters.
You're not going to get a disagreement from me. A decade or so ago, there was a vineyard developer that wanted to put a vineyard out here, and the members of the community that lived right here ran the rave and screamed and saying, leave 300 foot of brush out there so we don't have to see your vineyard. So it's gone full circle. Now we want to get rid of that because that's a hazard. That's a real hazard. So we need to help the landowners accomplish that. Yes.
I assume that these funds, Rob, have pertinence to everything within a person's property line. Everybody's property line is adjacent to a right-of-way which has the street easement, utilities and egress and egress. That area is also our safety line to get the heck out of here. There's a lot of areas that are in the right-of-way around the entire Rivieras that's strewn with dead trees, brush, things that have not been cleaned up or pruned back. They're inundating the right-of-ways. Are these funds applying to that area, or is the county supposed to have been doing cleanup that they haven't done?
Both. We'll be using some of those funds. If it's on private property, whether it's in the easement or not, some of that money is going to be used for that, because that is private property.
Right-of-way is...
It's not, we don't own it. We just have a right-of-way.
Is it the county's property?
The county does not own it. The county doesn't own it. It's the property owner's property, and we'll be working within parameters. A lot of that's going to be PG&E. They have the easement through there. The county will be doing as much as they can, but the reality is we're limited on our resources, and so we will be using this to clean it. We're not going to clean it down to the right-of-way and then leave the right-of-way for some other time. It's going to be clean.
So who is responsible for the right-of-way?
That's a question for county council. I've needed an attorney several times, but I'm not one, so I couldn't answer that. Like I said earlier, whatever is our responsibility, we need to take care of. But private property has to be taken care of by the private property owner, even if there's an easement through there, to make sure that that's worked out. So. Oh, back here. Okay, so what I'll do is I'm going to give you my phone number, and anybody that wants to give me a call, I'd be happy to do another presentation or just talk. It's real simple, but I'm not going to put everybody here through that again. Anybody else back here? Yes.
Will your presentation be available to either view or now?
Thank you. Elizabeth Larson with Lake County News is here. And she's going to be posting a link. She's recording the whole thing. And she's going to be posting a link to her website. And then I think we can probably put that on the county website as well as the PowerPoint. So that, if that helps anybody. Yes?
So I'm not sure I made your question. So what is safeguard?
By the way, the question was, will this be available for the public? So I'm sorry.
As far as the safeguards where the money is.
I am sorry, I'm not here to catch you.
I'm wondering, so what is
that will have to be developed by staff whenever they're working on a particular lot. There will be a log count of that actual count. Yes, it will. Yeah, it's going to be very transparent. This is a. It seems like a simple process, but it is going to be a lot of work with these letters and all that out. But there will be good accounting practices because we need to know exactly where the money comes back from. We're not going to do a lien on somebody's property and have that accident go to some other community. Again, my prediction is I think this is going to work out really well. I hope you guys all support it. And if it does, I think there are going to be a lot of communities around the county that are going to want to try to make this work for them as well. And it's going to require some accounting that we need to make sure that everything works right, because it has to be transparent, or it's not, or we won't get it again. So yes, back here.
How are you going to force property owners that don't take care of their property to pay? I mean, a lot of us pay for our neighbors' properties, just so our property
Okay, so how are we going to force people to pay?
The tax rolls are humongous. I mean,
That's what it is. It's on the tax roll.
Yeah. So
it's
how
just
do
they
you
have to
force
pay.
them to pay? I mean, we continually pay for our neighbors' lots.
So we do this already. We do abatements. If somebody has a house falling down, or they have an illegal trailer, there's a lot of different things. You guys are all aware of different things that the county is doing as far as abatement. We do the abatement. We go in there, we do a lien on the property, and I actually did a little research on this to find out. I thought we had all this money out there we need to go after. It's actually being recovered. Every time the property sells, it has to be paid off out of escrow, refinanced, change of ownership. Anytime that happens, that money has to be paid. Or the easiest way is to get it the next year when they pay their property tax. Because they're in default. If they don't pay it, they're going to be in default.
A lot of the properties, though, aren't buildable, so people just don't care. Those are the ones
There are some of those. There are some of those, and we could end up back with them, or you get them and you merge them into lot next door. I mean, there's some options out there available. I'm not going to pretend that there aren't going to be some issues with this, because there will be. But I think the percentage is so low that it's worth the risk to be able to take this money and go out and use it. And I think it will actually be for years to come. And if we do run out, then the next supervisor will come and ask me for more, because that won't be me. So anyway, I'm going to come up here just real quick, and I'll make the circle back around like this.
I just want to ask you, what is your, do you have a plan in place at this time for the first year? And specifically, before you take however much money, like $70,000 or what?
We're going to have a drawing here in a minute, so if you guys, that must be present to win.
I really want to know exactly where that money is going to go. How much is going to be administrative? How much is actually going to be tree cutting? Is it going to be for public areas? Is it going to be for individual property owners that have not kept their property up? I was told at our meeting by our president that Riviera Heights would get money to cut their own property, which that's duplications.
No.
They pay homeowners and this and that, and that's what we were told.
Okay, so I'm going to answer your questions.
Yeah, I want to see a plan that tells me where that money's going to go before I say yes.
Okay, so the money goes to, and we'd be happy to talk about this or anybody else too, the money goes directly to that. Administrative costs will say there's a lot, and I'll just use a number, don't hold me to it, but it's $2,000 to clean the lot, and we have $200 in administrative fee. That lien is going to be placed on that property, is going to be $2,200. It's not going to come from that fund. There will be some coming from that, because there will be a cost to have somebody send a letter out and make sure that the lot has been cleaned. There will be some of those lots that will be cleaned. They're not going to get penalized. So there will be some of that, but I can't to tell you, which lots will be cleaned prior to the ballot count. I couldn't tell you that. It's going to be, I'm going to rely upon the fire experts to identify the priorities, the lots that are a priority.
Well, I think that it's just not fair just to have just the Riviera Heights. I think the entire county needs to buy into this.
Well,
in order to vote. I think that you have picked on a group of people that are higher economically than most of all the rest of the
Okay,
town.
so,
And
okay.
I'm saying that's
So, these are
every bit as big.
Lakeport is not the county.
Santa Rosa is
All
every bit
right.
as
So, okay. So there's a question about why we're picking on the Rivieras. I'm not picking on anything. Well, I'm looking for it. You were chosen because you're the highest risk, and you are the community that I literally lose sleep at night. I thought I came to this plan in June at 3 o'clock in the morning when I was laying there going, we gotta do something. So it's not because I think I mean, I don't know how to respond to that. I can talk about yes. It will be an account specifically for that purpose. It will go with the general fund. And we can do, like I said, we can do other areas or other zones, but for right now, I just want to stick to something that's obvious. We can get your first.
No, but I'm gonna. See you around. Okay, nice meeting you.
Okay, so the assessment, the question is who's gonna do the assessment? What is your question?
I said, I live in Cal Fire.
Okay.
They take care of me. If there's a fire.
This isn't a fee to go to the fire department or Cal Fire. It's a fee to clean the law.
I understand that, but they could do an assessment right now.
It's not the same. They assess it for risk. They don't assess it for money. They don't assess it. Okay, so we'll go with Jerry. Go ahead. Jerry. I'm sorry. Hold on. I'm sorry, Jerry.
California, build a helicopter, they'll be here during the fire season. It's going to be the warranty. You see what I'm saying?
Would they leave here during fire season? Or leave equipment here? They have equipment here.
Has the supervisors ever requested that the state send some more equipment in here?
We don't have to. When the fires come in, they take care of themselves. That's their.
The response time is so slow.
Well.
The response time from the Riviera firehouse to this school is probably 5 minutes. I mean, that should be a lot.
It's nothing. None of that's going to be addressed with this fund. So, yeah, yes.
Okay. Do I understand this program correctly that it is going to include some kind of fire rate around all the most.
The peripheral. That's the ultimate goal. That's the ultimate goal. Yes. Yes. The question more. Yes.
Rob, I just want to say, speaking for Riviera West, that we've had this problem for 4 years. I see my colleagues here trying to figure out what the problem. We don't have a silver bullet to solve it all. One of our big problems is the absentee, non-responsive owner who won't clean his lot, and it makes all of your cleaning efforts, in vain. In the sense, we have no legal or fiscal way of addressing that issue. None of the communities that we're talking about here have the ability to do anything about that absentee owner. Rod, you've come up with a solution to that. It is an excellent solution to a major problem we have. It's not going to solve all the problems, but it will solve that problem, and I really appreciate it. Riviera West Board of Directors will pass an endorsement of this proposal at this December meeting, and we will send out communications to every single one of our property owners urging them to vote approval of this proposal.
Thank you, Phil. Yes, sir. We're going to meet with them on the 21st, and we'll find out what's going on. They've indicated, I'm not going to speak for them other than what they've told me is that they want to work with the local. There's actually, that's the lady that asked about volunteers. There's actually an opportunity there because there's some folks that want to volunteer to help do some things out there. So that may be something that comes up But I think they're really interested, and I know Congressman Thompson's office is working with them as well to, they know how important it is to us, all the folks out there. So, anybody else here? Yes, sir.
I had a question. So you stated that ballots will go out at the beginning of January 2019.
19, yes.
Okay, but taxes are not being collected until December.
Correct.
You mentioned that Hutchinson stated to you from the county that you guys would have to upfront the money and then you would get reimbursed.
Right.
Where is that money going to come from? If there's no money to begin
It'll come from reserves. You'll just have to come from reserves. We have some reserves for emergencies. Here's the thing. This is what what we're trying to do is, there's spending $100,000 right now out of reserves is far better investment than looking at the $2 or $3 million that we'll spend if there's a fire and then trying to get that back from the state. We don't have $100,000 to spend to waste to go do things with, but this is such an important investment. Again, I can't speak for the rest of the board, and Ken and I have talked about it, but I can't speak for the rest of the board, but I can't even imagine. I would support them if they had a plan in place that would be reimbursed in 6 months to help protect their communities. I would totally support that. I'm telling you right now. I don't care what it is. They will. That's correct. They will. Yep. Yes. Yeah, okay, so I'm just going to go back. I'm sorry. Her question was that, where's that $100,000 going to come from that I talked about? And that was the answer that I gave for that.
Okay, we're talking about $500,000 being spent cutting brush, cutting trees. The location of that is on the exits first. And the demonstration of the exits first. Let's all leave here at the same time, run to our cars, and the first one out, stop sign on 281, wins, the last one dies. Because that's what's going to happen when all these people, our families, our neighbors, everybody gets in their car, heads out trying to get out. We're going to be little crispy critters jammed up. So we have to clear back from the exit roads 30, 100, 200 feet, so we have an oxygen space, so our engines don't die. We can see where we're going while we're exiting. We're waving.
What's your question?
Well, are we going to be spending the money wisely, or are we just going to go in and...
Of course we are, we're the government.
So we're talking about cutting the brush, individual lots. And I have cut a lot of brush in the Riviera. A lot. Hundreds of lots. Myself.
Again, I'm going to state this again. It's not going to be up to me. It's going to be up to the fire department and their CAL FIRE and their best assessment as to what the priorities will be.
Okay, so let's throw in that mix. Let's get out safe. We can leave our stuff behind, let it go up in smoke. Let's get out safe. How do we get early warning?
Okay, so yeah.
Sirens. Okay. We want any money.
None of this money will be spent. No, it's
our money.
No, it's not.
Don't say no.
It's not. It's not. This fund can only be used for its benefit zone. We can't see. That's what somebody was talking about the transparency of the money. There's no Reddit fund. You can't say, oh, by the way, we have this fund over here, so now we're going to use it for sirens. If we're going to do sirens, we've got to find another source for that. This money.
Let's make this.
It can't be, because it's a benefit zone that's attached to CSA, which can only be used to protect our roads and the areas around here.
Let me say something.
Yeah, there are sources available we can go after. This is not one of them. It can't be used for that. It just can't. It can't be used. It can't be used for that. This is specific. There are. If you guys want to grant for sirens, we'll figure that out. But I can tell you right now, sirens are not the answer. Minimizing the risk of the fuel load is. So, yes. Yes.
I didn't hear when the meeting started, so I'm not sure you can answer this. We had a controlled burn on our
off CAL FIRE. That's not something that we were talking about here as far as this assessment zone. What you need to do is probably go to Kelseyville Fire or CAL FIRE to identify exactly where that district is. From what I've seen, I haven't seen a situation where if there's a fire reported that somebody doesn't get on it, fire department is like, oh, let it burn, and somebody else. I haven't seen that. So I think that's something you can probably address with Kelseyville Fire or CAL FIRE. So, yeah, well, thank you. Okay, any, call me.
It's not town-wide. You live in this zone, and the money that comes in benefits you specifically. It's not like when you pay gas tax and they put a new freeway overpass in the city. It's right here. $100.
I know the people who are making the decision. I want to see
I'm
the
saying
plan.
that's fine with seeing the plan, but I'm saying that right. I bet the people in Paradise would love to have paid $100.
Again, I'm going to go back to thinking. What I want to say is, I'm not guaranteeing anybody that there will be a fire. What I'm telling you is that I want to do something. I want to work towards a program that will minimize that risk to where I don't want to be the guy that was here for you when you needed to rebuild. I don't want to be that guy. I want to be the guy that helps you guys prevent fire, prevents disaster, prevents death. So, if there are any other questions, I'd be happy to take them. But here's what I want to offer real quick before anybody else leaves. And I know you guys got things to do, but my phone number is 349-2628. And I don't care if I have to do this presentation in your living room with just you and your cat, or if you want to put everybody together in your community. I'm fine with that. I want to make sure that all your questions are answered. In every scenario that comes up that could be an issue, that we address it. Like I said, I've been working on this thing since June, but that doesn't mean that there is no without its flaws. I want to correct those, and I'm open to any suggestions also. Please, call anytime, and we can work through this hopefully. So.
I'm with Riviera Heights Homeowners Association, and our board at our recent board meeting on November 7th voted in favor of supporting this really valuable program. It doesn't mean we're not going to keep doing all of the work that we do as a fire-wise community to get people to clear their lots. This is a big stick, and it helps us to go to a homeowner who is not in compliance and say, look, we want you to clear your lot. Maybe it's $1,000. I've got a bid right here, clear your lot, or the county's going to come in and they're going to charge you $3,500 to clear the lot now for $1,000. Believe me, they will pay $1,000 to avoid this. And this is the big stick that we need to be able to accomplish more abatement. And we have people who live here, people who live out of the area, who are great. They take great care of their properties. It's not them, it's the ones that have abandoned their properties. They're deceased. Properties are in test state. There is no one responsible for those properties, and they sit in limbo. We just cleared, our association just cleared and paid to clear 10 lots of homeowners that were deceased. That's a big chunk out of our association. We can't step on other properties, the people that are still alive who won't clear because they say, oh, you cut down my favorite tree on my property. suit your ass. And so this is the type of stuff that you get when you're trying to work with people. This is one of the best proposals, and it's one of the few proposals that we have that can actually work for us. And I'm very grateful to the board, to Tina Scott and to Rob Brown for proposing this. I'm very hopeful that the Board of Supervisors will support this as well as all of the other people in our association.
Sierra Alliance. Look up Sierra Alliance.
Look up Sierra Alliance on your computer. And see what that is.
Rob, I would just like you to tell the folks this is step one. It's not the final step of all the projects that the county's going to be working on. I think a lot of people are confused that this is it.
No, thank you for that. And that's, you know, that's my, you know, there's three different elections that will be going on. It's very possible that none of them will pass. It's possible that one of them will pass. I will commit to work as hard as I can to any of the communities, whether they pass or not. But this will give us the easiest mechanism to take that first step, like you mentioned. And Supervisor Steele is on his way out in another month, but before he leaves, he's helping us with an ordinance in place that will actually fine and penalize people throughout the county. But a fine won't stop a fire. It'll generate revenue for maybe next year to try to use some money for sirens or whatever else. But in the meantime, we've got this huge fuel load that we need to address, and we can't go out and apply for grants and wait 2 years and do all these things. We need to do something now. And I think that's my ultimate goal is this spring to have you guys say, well, it's working. They're actually out there cleaning lots, and I appreciate that. So that's my ultimate goal, that we're not put ourselves in any further risk by waiting for another year and another year and another year. We can't wait any longer.
Hi everybody, my name is Lisa. I live in the Clearlake Riviera, and my property is surrounded by a large swath that, I've lived there since 2012, and it's getting larger and larger and larger. Complained many times in many different ways. I've tried to be diplomatic about it, and it's not really getting anywhere. I think that your plan and what you've proposed is really makes a lot of sense, and I think everybody would be totally down with it. But I'm one of those people that believes that charity begins at home, and I want everybody to write down NOVACOOL, Novacool firefighting foam, because I think your idea about clearing is great, but this is a non-toxic, biodegradable foam that you can spray on your grounds, on your trees, on your windows, under your vents, on the roof, everywhere. And this is what they use to put out fires in Texas in the oil wells in 20 minutes. We cannot use Novacool in this state because our state is under contract to cross-check.
Get my good side.
And that is why fires, they go the way they go, last as long as they do. It has nothing to do with our gallant firefighters. They do the best job they can. You could try to clear everything out that you can. If we do what you propose, which is awesome, and protect our individual homes with a $300 bucket of Novacool and a power washer, that helps too. So I'm sorry if I sound like I'm grandstanding, but it is an idea. It's Novacool. It's on YouTube, and they have a demonstration for you. Thank you.
Okay, any other questions regarding the assessment? Yes.
So people are going to have differences of opinions about what correct vegetation management is. So how are those differences or those disputes going to get taken care of?
We're going to rely again on CAL FIRE and the fire department working with code enforcement to identify that based on a standard that, Mike, do either one of you guys want to talk about the standard that you guys have right now, or is that something that you want to develop? And I see Mary Jane's here too, or fire guru, fire marshal. You want to talk about that now or no? Okay. We will work on those standards.
So
the question was, are there standards already that are developed for that? So it's not subjective. We don't want it to be subjective. We don't want somebody to go out there and make an attempt to clean their lot and then come back and say, no, that's not good enough. There has to be a standard. So I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah. Yes. It's really important as grants are accessible, but I know it's Doug. Aaron's still here. Doug? Oh yeah, there you are. So, as an example, I've talked to other people about this, but Clearlake passed Doug's public works director for the city of Clearlake. They passed a sales tax measure, and that really helped you guys in your grant funding and all that. Just you take $5 when you turn it into 25 or 20 or $25. And so it makes a huge difference, and that's what we can actually capitalize on that. I think it'd be real beneficial to us to do that. And if other communities do it, they raise more money, more grant funding is available for them too. So, yes, Jeff? Yeah, the new JPA that they're working on with the fines and yeah, 5 fire departments in the county form a JPA to actually apply for grants on a larger scale. And so some of this funding could be used for that. So, any other questions? Again, yes, ma'am. I'm sorry, what did you got? What's that? Oh, you don't? My name is Tina Scott. No, I'm Rob Brown. So, any other questions? And I shouldn't have made that assumption. I guess I apologize for that. I didn't introduce myself, but so anyway, any other questions? Anything else? If anything comes up, you do have my number again. It's 349-2628. Call anytime. Thank you all for coming.